Hi. Roald Dahl, who died in 1990, was a very popular British author of children's literature. Quite famous worldwide. Apparently his books sold more than 300 million copies worldwide and has been called one of the greatest storytellers for children of the 20th century. Born in Wales to Norwegian immigrant parents, he wrote some amazing books. Now, I imagine most people these days have heard of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That was one of my favourite kids' books when I was starting to read books for myself. James and the Giant Peach was another great favourite that I'm still very fond of. And I enjoyed some of his other ones. The Witches, Matilda, and the Twits. But the Twits I never actually read as a kid. This one, like the Witches, I suspect were victims of my mother's censorship. I don't think she believed that I should look upon witches as evil creatures. And the Twits never came my way. I'm not quite sure why. It is, however, very famous. If you check Roald Dahl out online, you'll find that the Twits is one of the top mentioned books. So in the Twits, you've got Mr. and Mr. Twit, who are portrayed as hideous, vindictive and spiteful married couple who play horrible tricks on each other involving worms in the spaghetti, frogs in the bed and a glass eye in the beer. They are the sort of stories that appeal to small children, but I've got to say, as an adult who wanted something a little bit more light-hearted to read, they were delightful. They were carefree. They were gently funny. The phraseology is just adorable. It's like, we can't go on forever watching these two disgusting people doing disgusting things to each other. We must get ahead with the story. I've got a little Puffin edition. It's from 1980. And that's relevant because that means it's before the controversy. Incidentally, it's illustrated by Quentin Black, and the illustrations are lovely black and white drawings. They've got, I don't know if he also did James and the Giant Peach, but it's overall a delightful book. And while I'm sure that lots of small children would enjoy it, I think that a lot of open-minded adults can as well. Now, the idea of the Twits was triggered apparently by the fact that Dahl hated beards, and his desire was to do something against beards. And the first sentence of the story is, what a lot of hairy-faced men there are around these days. And it's accompanied by a picture of beards. Now, that's very, very nonconformist today when beards are the new metrosexual. So it goes into this discussion of how disgraceful a beard is and how many disgusting things you can find it before going on to Mrs. Twit. It's just fun. Now, I came across this in my recent expedition to Bookfest. It was part of my Bookfest haul. I read it last night because I was in the mood for something fun and comforting after I'd had a disappointing book. And the actual reason that I chose it there and then at the Bookfest, as soon as I saw it, had to do with controversy. In 2023, there was a censorship controversy, and the controversy is essentially why I bought it. And it's a 1980 edition, so it happened before any controversy or censorship could occur. Now, Dahl was apparently vehemently against having his publishers change so much as a comma in one of my books. But in February 2023, Puffin Books decided that it would be rewriting portions of many of Dahl's children's books, changing the language to, in the publisher's word, ensure that it can continue to be enjoyed by all today. Some of these decisions were odd, like ladies and gentlemen apparently can offend people these days. I don't see how, but that was changed to folks. They removed words like batty, nutty, screwy, ugly and hag. Apparently you're not allowed to be ugly in children's books anymore. And you're not allowed to have any sort of controversy. I thought it was a huge amount of fun. Basically, you've got a introduction to the Twits themselves. Then you've got all these nasty tricks they play upon each other, including tying Mrs. Twit to a hook and filling balloons up to stretch her. I can see why you wouldn't want your children practicing these things at home, but surely that's what adults overseeing small children's reading is for. I don't suppose that I was given James and the Giant Peach in the hope that I would abscond in a giant peach either. And later there's a situation with captive animals in a cage, monkeys who are help rescue the local birds and are themselves rescued from the cage by birds. It's an adorable little book, what can I say? And yeah, there's not much more to say. I could review the whole plot. I could give you more of the illustrations. I'm gonna give you more of the illustrations. This is the monkeys deciding to take revenge on the Twits using the sticky glue that they used to use to capture birds. It's a darling little book for kids. I don't see anything offensive about it. I think it's funny in the non-judgmental, non-confrontational way that a small child is going to enjoy it. And I had a tremendous amount of fun. I'm glad I managed to pick up this copy that hasn't been censored into blah. Thank you for watching. The next review, I firmly believe and hope, will be for a real grown-up book. But in the meantime, I thoroughly recommend this if you're in the mood for a kid's book, which is a lot of fun.